are related in a different way. And when it comes to media marketing communication, it's a different space. All things may not fall into a logical sequence or place as you think that they should be, but it doesn't mean that there's no other way. So they're just different concepts, some newer concepts, some different concepts that you need to be aware of. It's a new subject, right? So keep yourself open to understanding new concepts, new relationships. So talking about the basics of marketing, let's define marketing first. Um, Developing profitable customer relations. That's how the textbook defines it. The every subject has a Bible. Like for physiology, what's the Bible? The Bible of physiology is, can someone answer? I won't move forward before you answer this question.
Brighten.
Brighten. Okay, perfect. And what about the other subjects? What about ortho? Moyer's profit,
Profit.
right? Yeah. So similarly, every subject has a Bible that has become a universal reference, right? So for marketing, it's Kotler. Kotler is the Bible of marketing, Philip Kotler. And the book defines marketing as developing profitable customer relations. That's what marketing is. And however, from my experience, I take a slightly different approach to it, and I rephrase it to simply developing relations that are profitable. So it's just a sequence of words, but it's not just a sequence of words. It's how you approach that subject and how you treat your relations. So for me, the relation comes first, and how you make it profitable is secondary. But you know, the textbook would say otherwise. So why do we need marketing? Because at any given time in the world, there is this need to sell products or services, right? Need to sell what? Product or service. In any given transaction, there are only two things that are being exchanged. It's either a product or a service, and the customer is paying for one of these two, or it could be a concept as well. And what are the dimensions of marketing? One is B2B, the other is B2C. Who can tell me what this means?
So B2B mean business to business.
Right. And B2C?
Business to C, corporate sector.
That is B2B.
Business to customer.
Business to customer, exactly. Customer or consumer, right? That's the end user. So when we talk about dentistry, what is dentistry? In these two categories.
Business to consumer.
This is B2C, okay? And what is your dental supplier?
B2B.
It's business to B2B.
Right? Okay, perfect. So now you know the difference. The B2B is business to business. And why do we have to treat them differently? Because they behave differently. They behave differently. And how do they behave differently? Generally, B2B takes a longer time, needs a more deeper engagement and relationship, and involves a higher amount of money as compared to B2C. A B2C transaction is usually short, usually of lower value, and usually requires not a lot of deep engagement. It's like you're going to buy shampoo. It just costs an X amount of money. You don't need to really know the shopkeeper. You're gonna go purchase and out of the shop, and it takes you 5 minutes, right? So that's the basic difference. As opposed to when you're buying an endomotor, you will engage into negotiations. You need a demo, then you need a sample, then you need, and it's a higher amount of money, then you need to know the representative really well, and all those things, right? So that basically defines the basic difference. So coming to meaningful marketing, some basic concepts, some misconceptions, some buzzwords and phrases, and what they mean. Some people consider advertising as the same as marketing. Okay, advertising is a component of marketing. Marketing itself is a much bigger landscape. Advertising is just a piece of marketing. So you cannot consider the two as the same. Some people consider marketing as the same as sales. It's not true either. The basic difference in marketing and sales is the pull versus push approach. Marketing, the objective of marketing is to create a pull, to attract people towards the product. And the objective of sales is to push the product towards the consumer or towards the customer. Okay, so there's a basic dynamic difference. The concept that now everything is online and conventional interpersonal relationships are out, that is not completely true. At the end of the day, for success in business, whether it's dentistry or whatever it is, the balance between the real and virtual is most important. Because the source of virtual presence is real, right? It comes from the real world. So you really need to balance that. And then specific to dentistry, people think that your clinical skills are more important than your business skills. That is also unfortunately not true. Again, you have to strike a balance between the two. Sometimes we find that people who are not as skilled clinically are more successful because of their business skills than people who are very good clinically, but their business skills might not be as good. Some people have a wrong impression of marketing and they think that marketing involves lying. No, it does not have to involve lying or misrepresenting. It is value creation. What you need to do justice to the process. You need to create the value of your product or service so that people would be paying that amount of money for that value. And because now too much of sales information is being provided under the name of education, you really need to be able to separate the two and know what is sales information, what is education. Many a times, a salesperson will try to educate you, but the information provided will either be biased or incomplete or sometimes completely wrong. So you being the professional need to differentiate between sales information that is being provided to push the product versus what's real education. Real education will always be generic. So what we're talking about here are generic things, right? So we're trying to educate you. If we were trying to talk about specific things or trying to push specific products, then it's a sales process. And even the sales process can be educational. You just have to know the type of information that you are providing.
Sir, the students are saying that the audio is not clear. Can we make a change?
I tried your suggestion. And now I'm removing my headphones, and I guess now the volume would be fine. Is it? Please confirm. Is this okay now?
Sir, I'm asking. Yes, they're saying better.
Okay, perfect. So we're back to our original method. So common oversights. Consistency is very important. You have to exhibit patience, and you have to exercise patience with whatever you're doing. Results do not come up overnight. If you have set a new clinic or you've taken any new initiative, You will have to exercise patience to see the results. And patience and consistency in execution also. If you tried something new and it didn't work, don't get demotivated. You have to do it at a certain frequency for enough number of times for a certain amount of time for it to start working, right? There's executional consistency required, and the consistency in messaging and branding. That's how you build brands, through consistency in your messaging. So the visual look of your brand, the the type of approach that you're taking towards messaging needs to be consistent, and you need to have some control over what you're doing. So always evaluate, look back at what didn't work, give time, reasonable time to consider it as a failure and to change your approach. Keep in mind the 80-20 principle, the Pareto principle that says that 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. So if you don't look back and evaluate your efforts, you would not find that 20% of efforts that's giving you 80% of results. So optimize your approach and focus on that 20% that is actually giving you the 80% of results. Use insights. Now Google Analytics and so much high-tech support is available to give you trends, your Facebook insights, Google insights that will help you get a sneak peek into what's working more for you. Less is more means don't overdo things, do them consistently, but on that 20% that gives you the 80% result. Market segmentation and targeting is very important. We try to be, regardless of what business we are, we try to be everything to everyone. That is not possible. You have to define your customers. For example, if you opened a clinic in a big city like Lahore or Delhi or whatever place, you cannot serve the whole city. You have to determine a target market. You have to define what your customer looks like. Maybe you're focusing on aesthetic dentistry, maybe pediatric dentistry, or whatever type of dentistry that you want to do. You want to limit your marketing. You want to focus your marketing to that segment. You cannot mean everything to everyone. So you have to prioritize to make your efforts more productive and more efficient. Now, the entrepreneurship fad. This word really gets used a lot. It's good to have an entrepreneurial approach, but keep in mind that entrepreneurs need entrepreneurs. This is very important. These are two different types of people, but they are also similar. Jenna, this is for you also. So entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs are two very similar people as far as their ambitions are concerned, as far as their energies are concerned. The only thing that divides them is the financial risk. A person who organizes and operates a business taking greater than normal financial risks is the entrepreneur. And the entrepreneur is an inside entrepreneur who uses entrepreneurial skills without incurring the risks that are associated with these activities. So if you are involved in an organization, you're working for an organization that you own, then you're the entrepreneur. But if you're working for another organization that is government owned or privately owned, but you take ownership of your work and you behave and you invest yourself in it as if you were the owner, then you're an entrepreneur. And these both types of people are very important for just for the success of these organizations, but also for their own success of the individuals. So these two concepts are very important. So whenever you're working in any organization, it's always best to take an entrepreneurial approach to it so that you can have ownership of the process. Let's move on to communication. Some elements of communication are the marketing message. Now, communication from a marketing perspective. The marketing message, which basically does the value creation for you. Then you use media, which could be conventional, electronic. And then there's the receiver at the end of this process. okay? Which could be a business or a consumer, depending if you are a B2B or B2C business. And this is what the process looks like. First, the message is encoded by the sender, then it is carried by the carrier. This message could be a verbal or a visual message, could be a verbal or a visual carrier. It is received and interpreted by the receiver. And obviously, when it comes to visual messages, believing. And then it creates a perception. And perception is reality. So you have to remember that there are these four processes whenever communication has happened. There's at least these four processes that are taking place at the same time. And here's the response generally. When you want to convey a message, you need to have the attention of the audience. The next level is generating interest in the subject or interest in what you're saying. And this leads to the desire to either acquire that product or hear more about it, and concludes with the action. Attention, interest, desire, action. So whenever you're phrasing a message or whenever you're sending out a communication for any purpose, make sure that it will grab the attention, it will generate interest, it will create the desire that will translate into action. And what makes communication impactful? What are the factors? Well, speaking or listening is unfortunately, and that's what we're doing, we're using visual aids as well. So this is the least impactful form of communication. So if you're in a lecture room, listening to someone for an hour or online, just like in this conversation, how likely are you to remember all the things that were said? You will lose a lot of it. Most of it. You will remember only the small percentage that made the most impact. And if someone was to ask you to summarize, you'd probably be able to summarize what you remember of that 1 hour in 5 minutes, right? So you lost a lot of it. It increases when it is more visual. So seeing is the level 2. That's why we're trying to visualize, keep things visual as well in this presentation so that you can see what's going on, so that the impact can not just be limited to speaking or listening. It can go to level 2, which is seeing. And the third level is experiencing, when you go through it yourself. That is the most impactful form of communication or memory. You would be able to, that will be most impactful. And here's the second side of the coin: logical versus emotional. Now, interestingly, a lot of logical conversations or reasoning might be right, might be correct, might be true, might be accurate, but it is not as impactful as when it is given an emotional spin. So that's why when you see advertising, there's a lot of, they're trying to stir up the emotion. And that is why they are trying to, that is how they are trying to create that impact, by stirring up that emotion. So again, this is, keep this in mind when you're trying to create those messages, marketing messages for your businesses or yourself. You should have a visual media set, which comprises of photos, which could be clinical, social, use infographics, that they are very good visuals that you can use for education, and videos. So visual could be still, could be motion, photos, videos. You could do clinical videos, which could be educational, procedural, and these days I think with everyone having a cell phone, it cannot get easier than this. And when it comes to professional or B2B activities, you can obviously incorporate these media set, either B2C or B2B, doesn't matter. You can have vlogs, interview videos, event videos. Just find an opportunity and produce a visual media set. So how does marketing work? Here's the basic level of marketing. Commercial or personal? Personal marketing, when you're marketing either yourself or something at an individual level. And commercial is when you're doing it at a corporate level. What is the process of the marketing? You understand the marketplace and customer needs and wants first, and then design a customer-driven marketing strategy, which is followed by a marketing program that delivers the value, builds your profitable customer relationship, and then you capture the value. So as with everything, the return only comes after you've done all the hard work. It does never come immediately. So you see, the capturing value from the customer is when eventually the customer will put their hand in their pocket, take out the credit card or cash to pay you. Always comes at the end. You have to understand the marketplace, understand the customer needs, design the marketing strategy, construct a marketing program, and build the relation, and then you capture the value. The value capturing component will always come at the end. And what does a marketing manager basically do? If we were to oversimplify the process of marketing management, it's just segmenting a market. That's the first thing any marketing person would do. Choosing that segment, choosing a target segment, and then building those profitable relationships with that segment, not the others. So this is the oversimplified job description of a marketing manager. It's not the simple, trust me, when you start doing it. How do you create an integrated marketing plan? The marketing mix comprises of the famous 4 or 5 P's of marketing, which is the product, price, place, promotion, and the person who promotes it. That's what makes your marketing mix. And all this needs to be integrated so that you don't become a case of the right hand doesn't talk to the left hand. So integration is critical. Now, when it comes to building customer relationships that are profitable, there are some tools that companies use. They're called C.I.D.E, which is Customer Relationship Management. In the corporate world, it's referred to as CRM. And in the dental world, what's your CRM? Your CRM is your dental software. So when you are in a practice and you need to get insights about your customers and how they are being managed, how their needs are being addressed. In a corporate, you turn to your CRM. In a dental office, you turn to your dental software. So now I know that in the developing world, software is not very common, but I also know that it is becoming increasingly available and people are becoming increasingly aware. And and you should look around and see what options you have. There are some free software available. There's some with paid subscriptions, whatever floats your boat. Go with that option. But I think it's a very important add-on to the dynamics of your practice, because it can literally become an office manager. So it's very helpful. And also keep in mind the changing nature of customer relationships. As opposed to the past, when there was the only way companies, services, and products to communicate with their customers would be either television advertisements, radio advertisements, newspaper ads, which is ATL advertisement, above the line. You don't have control over where that ad reaches, where it ends up, who reads it, and the phone line. The phone line was probably the only one way when your customer can actually get back to you. There was no other way for them to reach you, but now it's very different. Now it's more of a two-way street, right? As I said earlier, your CRM would be your dental software. And now we can talk about the changing nature of relationships. You have to relate carefully with the selected customers we already talked about. about segmenting and targeting that segment and then focusing on it, now you are relating more deeply and interactively, two-way street. So they have an equal participation in that relationship. And instead of the past where it was mostly corporate driven, corporate managed, now it's customer managed. They decide, they choose. And to take it to the next level, you even have consumer generated marketing. You can get them to do marketing for you. If you're doing well, you can get them to give you testimonials, write reviews, share your posts, or so on and so forth. That's consumer generated marketing. That didn't exist in the past. Now, let's talk a bit about personal marketing. What's the product when it comes to personal marketing? The product is you. And what do you bring to the table? You bring knowledge and you bring skill. What kind of knowledge do you bring to the table, or should you bring to the table? Clinical knowledge, business knowledge, management knowledge, management skill. What skills? Clinical skills, communication skills, management skills. So two sides of the same coin, right? When it comes to dentistry as a business, you have to have a combination of these two, knowledge and skill. A knowledge set and a skill set. That's what will define you as a product. And your first marketing message sometimes is the resume. How do you design it? What's the organization of it? Even let me add something interesting. Even how you name that file that you will send as your resume should be professional. How do you arrange the education experience? If you know the difference between the two, so many times we come across resumes that put things under the wrong heading. If you've acquired some sort of license, that is not education, that's your licensure. You should not put your licensing process in your education. That's not a degree, that's not a qualification. It's a qualification, it's not a degree, it's not education. Highlights, how do you strategically arrange a resume to highlight some areas and downplay others? Right, so choose that design, those layouts carefully. And most importantly, your CE profile. How inclined are you towards continuing education and professional development? And always give it a personal touch. And beyond this, there's the one simple rule. Be seen, be heard, be known. Because as they say, your network is your net worth. So it's very important to know the right people in the right places. Okay? Be seen, be heard online, in person, make sure that activities are meaningful, they're visual, and you are matching that online activity with your in-person activity. And you're creating the balance between the real and the virtual that we spoke about earlier. How can you create that influence? So all this comes down to creating influence. And you see with so many YouTubers, TikTokers, and what are these people actually trying to prove? They're evolving themselves into influencers. They have followers and they're evolving themselves into influencers. Many young dentists I see having YouTube channels, and they're pretty active on social media, which is a good thing to do, but don't do it in an uncontrolled way. Try to harness that energy and organize it, and it will help you create a better, become a better influencer. So network extensively, showcase yourself, involve yourself in the education activity, pursue a hobby, pursue a cause, pursue a skill, and at every step in each of these categories, you have the opportunity to showcase what you like. But also keep in mind that there's a fine line between overdoing it. So just keep it in check. Basic professional media. So the basic professional media set should have a headshot, maybe a video made. I don't video resumes. Team shots, if you're in a practice shots, virtual tours, even photographs, testimonials. These are some areas that should have visual tools. And where can you put all this? Can go on your website, on your social media, on your flyers, on your ads. And I am always a huge fan of being original. So I don't think that stock photos do justice to whatever that is we are trying to do. So we need to be original, create an original set of images, videos, and the media, and it'll probably help you better in your efforts. So your headshot is a brand statement, and many people don't really pay attention to that. You can have an image that looks like this, but here's the difference. See the difference between how you present yourself on social media. Very important. Or you could go for a corporate style portrait, something that looks like this. Many people do that. Equally effective. You could do professional team shots for your team. Things could look like this, right?
Do you have Abbas a light?
So there are more examples of the way things can be done. Checking the story. Why is this important? It's not shameless self-promotion, by the way. You can make it in the way you do it. You can make it shameless self-promotion, but here's the important thing, is to execute it in a way that doesn't become shameless self-promotion. Talking about consistency, repeat exposure, multiple touch points give you the Tom position. What is Tom? Top of mind. Top of mind. When someone has seen you in the newspaper, they've seen you on television, they've seen you on billboards, they've seen you on a flyer, they've seen you everywhere, you are more likely to be on the top of their mind when they think of something that relates to you. When they think of dentistry, they think of you. Seeing is believing, that's why you need to be visual. And concluding thoughts. No one wants to be a part of the process, but everyone wants to be part of the outcome, right? So let's not become that person who doesn't want to be part of the process. Because here's the problem. If you were never a part of that process, you don't deserve to be a part of the outcome. So try to be the part of the process. We have a couple of initiatives coming up. These are more related to the Canadian business. And here are the contacts. You can take a screenshot of this image and reach out to us if you need any help. And let me check what we have. So let's see the question.
Sir, yes, if the participants have any questions, they can ask. And I have some questions. Can I ask, sir? Hello? Hello?
अनीका आपकी आवाज आ रही है, सर नहीं बोल रहे.
Okay.
So
Participants, you can ask any questions if you have in the chat box, and sir will take them. I think there was any connectivity issue, he will join. Sir is trying to reconnect. There is some internet issue. So we are waiting. Okay, so hello everyone. Let's not wait. We can have the quiz first and the question answer sessions later because sir is trying to reconnect. He's saying he will be here in a few more minutes. So please open the quiz link in the emails you received. And only here in the chat of the webinar, I'm sending the quiz link as well. The quiz has still not started. It will only start when the timer starts. Only open the link for now, just like last time. So the time limit will be 12 minutes since there are fewer questions this time, 14 MCQs, and here's the link. Everyone has the next 2 minutes to open this quiz link in their phones or laptops, wherever you want to open it. And if there is no one saying that they have not opened it yet, we will start the timer. So if you do not have the quiz link or there's any problem, please let us know in the next few minutes. Yes, the quiz has not started yet. It will not be responding. This is time only to open it. And I hope everyone has. Quiz will only start when the timer begins. Okay, so the quiz is accepting responses now. Please check if you face any problem. It is accepting responses. You must be able to access it. Please refresh your pages. Please write a yes if you can access the quiz now. Okay. Okay, 2 yeses are enough only if you cannot access the quiz. Tell only those people right now. If someone still can't access the quiz, only then write. Okay, the timer for the quiz has started. It will end in 12 minutes.
So let me just, hi guys, I'm back. Let me just take a look at the chat questions, which obviously now I can because I got disconnected. So I was answering the question from I think Tayyab on MBA. So it's a very good option. You should definitely look at it. There are at least I think two versions available. There's a full-time version and there's an executive version that would be available. So look
Sir,
at those.
I'm sorry
And
to cut you. Sir, I'm sorry to cut you. Sir, the quiz was going on.
okay.
If you want
So
us to stop the quiz, if you we can
let's
stop
start
as
with
well.
not a problem.
Okay, thank you, sir. After 3 minutes, the quiz will stop accepting responses again. So please submit on time.
All right.
So can you hear me so we can start?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't have the access to the questions anymore. I lost the chat box. So
Sir, I'll read. I'll read, sir.
yeah, I just want to make sure I answered the question and if he follows the response.
Ji, sir.
With that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What else? Any other question?
Yes, sir, there are more questions. There are a lot of questions. I thought you were saying you'll answer Tayyib's question first, because I also received
Because
it
that's the
privately.
only question I remember.
Okay, sir. I'll say it. Tayyib is asking that, sir, he asked you about MBA last time. Kindly explain a
I
bit
answered
about
that question.
these.
That's what I answered that question. I just
Okay.
told that marketing is generally a more popular subject for dentists to go into, because then you can put
Yes,
your
sir.
technical knowledge and combine your marketing knowledge, and it's a good combination. Otherwise, if you have other inclinations, finance and other areas, you have to really check with yourself where your aptitude lies and go with that.
Yes, sir. So the next question is, what is the function of media in dental marketing?
Media is your carrier, right? Any message you have to put out, you have to use some form of media. So I think media and marketing are like intertwined now, and one cannot survive without the other.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Kindly explain the numbering relationship in the first slide.
Now you have to explain it. I already answered that. Someone else has to explain it now. How's
So you told that they are in an alphabetical order, or you have to change the way of thinking in order to learn something new.
If you're seeing a series of numbers, the relationship between them may not necessarily be mathematical, as we saw in that slide. So there was a relation, you just had to think differently.
Yes, sir.
They
were arranged alphabetically.
It was a teaser.
Sir, what is integrated marketing plan?
An integrated marketing plan is where your activities are all synchronized or integrated, or they complement each other. When you're creating your pricing strategy, your communication strategy, how you would go to the market with a plan, the way all those steps and all those measures complement each other is basically an integrated marketing plan.
Next question is from Muhammad Ibrar. He's asking, please, how we can do digital marketing in dentistry?
Well, you have so many avenues now. Social media, Google Analytics. There's many, the word integration is going to come up again and again. There's many platforms that help you, like HubSpot is one name I can think of. There's a couple of others too that offer you integrated digital marketing approach to make your life easier. And Hootsuite is one, Hootsuite and HubSpot. So those platforms can help you develop an integrated digital marketing approach to your business.
Sir, Suite is an example for a dental software, right?
Sorry?
Sir, it is a software that can be used, right?
What's
Suite.
the question?
Sir, I'm asking the example you mentioned of Suite.
Hootsuite.
Yes, sir. Sir,
and HubSpot. These are platforms, software platforms for digital marketing.
Yes, sir. So because there is an upcoming question from Aska, what is a dental software? And I also had a question that if you could give some examples of the softwares that can be used, this CRM that you mentioned. So I think that answers all these questions.
There is a product by the same name, CRM. It's by Microsoft. For dental software, Open Dental is a very popular software. So try Open Dental.
Okay. Sir, the next question is advertising and marketing. What is the difference between the two? It's from Bagma.
Oh, you have to tell me the difference. I already covered that.
Sir,
advertising. Yeah, or yourself. Yeah.
Sir, advertising is when you are using different platforms and putting the information out there only. And in marketing, it is an integrated system, like we have discussed the integration.
Is a component of marketing. Advertising is a component of marketing, whereby all you're doing is just letting people know about your product. That step only is advertising. Putting your message
marketing
out. Everything behind it, the design of the product, the strategy of marketing, the graphics, the planning, branding, all that other things is marketing. Advertising is just putting this thing out, putting an ad out. One
Yes, sir.
component of marketing. So marketing is the bigger pie. Advertising is a piece of the pie.
Yes, sir. Next question is from Muqaddas. I could not catch this point. Please explain it again, that what does online being in and conventional being out means, and how is that related to balancing virtual or real things?
It means that people who think that now there is all your marketing should be online and digital, and that you don't need to give newspaper ads, you don't need to print flyers, you don't need to do any of the physical marketing or advertising activities. That concept is what I mean to say, is that, you know, people, if you're thinking that online is in and the conventional is out, that is not really true. You still have to use the conventional means, because there is always people who are consuming those conventional advertising and marketing approaches as well.
And so there was second part of the question, that how does that relate to balancing virtual or real things?
That is just saying, that is exactly how it relates, that if you have to balance the real with virtual. So if you just go virtual, you mean just go online, you're missing out on the actual physical part of the marketing or exercises. It's the same thing, like it's just being said in two different ways.
So the next question is from Tausif. Explain response generation.
The response generation, as again, I'm repeating myself, there's a process to whenever you're doing marketing and you are the objective of all marketing, all efforts is to create a response and interest in your prospective consumer, right? So you get their attention, grab their attention, generate interest, and then create the desire to take action. Which action means get up and either acquire that service or buy that product. That's the action that you want, right? That's the response that you're looking for from your customer. So to get the customer to that point, you have to follow those steps of response generation.
Yes, sir. So Sana is asking, please explain the difference between entrepreneur and intrapreneur.
I'll request you to do that. That's like repeating the whole presentation.
Yes, sir. Sir, entrepreneur is basically someone who is taking the risk for the business himself and he owns it. But in case of intrapreneur, you are working inside a system like a hospital setting, where someone else.
It could be the same business. The person it's an approach to your work, taking ownership of your work without having the ownership of the business is intrapreneurship.
Yes, sir. And Tosif had the same question, and then Muhammad Ibrar has the question, entrepreneur or intrapreneur, which one is best?
It depends on what type of person you are. Both have their own. They cannot survive without each other. An entrepreneur cannot work if he doesn't have a team. And an intrapreneur, the best place for an intrapreneur to perform is where his ownership approach is appreciated. So an entrepreneur cannot work without an intrapreneur. Successful.
Absolutely. Sir, next question is from Muqaddas. If 80% response is from 20% efforts, then where does the rest of the 80% response comes from? What else is needed besides efforts?
So this will always be the case. This will always exist. The 80-20 is just a way to prioritize your efforts. So you should, for example, if you are skilled in about 10 skills, there are 10 procedures that you do in your dental office, just to give you an example. You will find out that most of your revenue comes from probably 2 or 3 of them. So try to focus and promote those 2 or 3 that give you the most revenue. Not that it doesn't mean ignore the rest, just optimize your focus and prioritization according to that. And if
Yes,
you,
sir.
for example, if you've done 5 types of advertising or marketing, and when you look back after 6 months or 1 year, and you've tried to figure out what initiative gave you the most responses, you focus more on that platform.
Yes.
And prioritize on that.
So next question is from Muhammad Ibrahim. He's asking which is more profitable. I think he's again asking about entrepreneurship and intrapreneurship. Sir, I would also like to ask one question, which is extending this question, that is intrapreneurship, the profits you can gain, is it unlimited? Like in entrepreneurship, it will be unlimited. But in intrapreneurship,
nothing ever is unlimited. Nothing ever is unlimited, okay? So you have to, entrepreneurship comes at a price. Let's put it that way. Because you have the financial risk, right? So therefore you are to the larger profit as well. It gives you the right to the larger profit because it's your stake, it's your risk. So entrepreneur has its limitations. Obviously, an entrepreneur will always be an employee. So they definitely that not everyone is an entrepreneur by nature. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying, and good is not never defined by the amount of profit. You could have less profit and you can still be in a good position because it suits your personality type more. And you could be having more profits, but in a bad position because you don't enjoy doing it, because that's not who you are. So it's more of an approach-based concept, right? Everything is a black and white in life. There's a lot of grays, as you see, even there's a lot of gray. So in life, not everything is black and white, right? This is an approach-based concept. Don't try to put a tab on right, wrong, good or bad on everything. Some things are just different. They don't have to be good or bad, right? It's just
yes, sir.
It's an approach-based, it's a concept-based approach. It's a bank balance-based approach.
So there still are more questions. I think at least
well,
5 or 6 more.
Running out of time. And what we could do is, if you could just send me these questions, send me the just the unanswered questions, and
yes, sir.
What we will do is we will put some answers to them, and you can then send it back to all the participants.
Yes, sir. Sir, before that, could you answer this one question that I wanted you to answer for like everyone, which is that what do you suggest any student should be doing to actively continue to learn about all these different topics that we have covered so far?
So there are short courses, like one option that we were talking about earlier is to go for an MBA, and you'll get answers to most of these things in detail. If not, there's an executive program. There are executive MBAs, which are shorter weekend courses. You can go for that. Search for some online courses, but educate yourself. Educate yourself. Go for some shorter courses and try to know, and then you'll start figuring out which area you want to go deeper in. So I would say educating yourself is the most important, and then put your education to practice. Education that you do not practice is useless.
And sir, as a student, where can we go and actually see all these things being implemented, like in the private clinics or somewhere else as well?
You can do an internship in a company, maybe go to a pharmaceutical, maybe go to a dental consumer company or a dental other company, do an internship, work with them, see what it looks like from the inside, because things are very different from the outside as compared to the.
Thank you, sir. This is a great perspective that we can go to other places as well and learn these things. Thank you so much for your time. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your time today.
Once again, my apologies for the slight delay at the start. but I hope that the concepts, the approaches that you got this lecture were worth your weight.
Yes, sir. It definitely was. It absolutely was. Thank you so much for answering each and every question. And for all the 3 sessions, I hope that if not the students exactly learn each and every part of it, we were able to at least learn minimum possibility there is, that we learn the importance of all these things, so that we know that we're supposed to learn these things and inculcate them into our profession, whatever side of the dentistry we're pursuing. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome, everyone. Take care. Goodbye.
Goodbye, sir. Allah Hafiz. Okay, Anik, if you could take screenshots for a group picture. The students we still have will take a picture with them for today's session. And if you're comfortable, please open your videos.
अगर आप आना चाहते हैं पिक्चर में
हाँ बिल्कुल. If you're comfortable, तो सब जल्दी से open कर लें. And Anik, you can count to 10 and take the screenshots. We don't know आपका 10 तक counting कितनी जल्दी होगी, but आराम से गिन के तो you can start. Arsil, आपकी video off है. I don't see you. I don't see Arsil.
मैं ले रहा हूँ pictures.
Okay. Arsil का message आया हुआ है. He's leaving. So I think he left. We can take.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I hope you learned a lot. See you on 7th, the day after tomorrow. Allah Hafiz.